Welcome back on the AM show. Today we go international, we're spreading our reach, and it's also because we're concerned about political, socio-economic happenings in the sub-region. Now, recently, June the 24th, Sierra Leone, a neighboring country, went to the polls to maintain the SLPP, the Sierra Leone political party or front. Now, the APC, the All People's Congress, and now they are also in Nigeria, but the APC is contesting that election and its outcome. We have joining the conversation this morning to give us a fair deal of scope on the issue, the Minister for Communication, Information and Communication, Mohammed Rahman Sware. Mr. Sware, thank you for joining the conversation this morning.
Thank you very much for being here.
Great. Now, just walk us through the happenings of June the 24th. I know the Media Foundation for West Africa was in Sierra Leone at the time. There were observer missions and all of that. But what exactly took place on June the 24th, and what are the simmering issues in Sierra Leone currently?
Well, so thank you very much. On June 24th, Sierra Leone had multi-tier elections, which comprised presidential, parliamentary, and local council elections. This was our fifth post-conflict elections since the war officially ended in 2002. In these elections, about 12 political parties contested, including the SLPP, which currently has the presidency. So those elections were keenly contested, but in the end, Brigadier retired Julius Maadabi won. You might want to know why, and why is it that he continued to maintain the trust and confidence of the Sierra Leonean people. In his 5 years in governance, he embarked on very, very important policy reforms. He also embarked on a human capital development agenda. We allocated about 22% of our national budget to education, which has seen about 3.1 million kids in school, all paid for by government, including for their transitional exams. Girls who pass the final transition exams to university and who are undertaking STEAM courses also end up getting free education. We provide hot meals for over 600,000 kids. We provide subsidized school buses. We provide teaching and learning materials, particularly in core subjects. So apart from that, when we took over, we had an electricity generation access of about 16%. Today, we're in the region of 35%. Very recently, on the eve of elections, we have electrified 7 district headquarters towns. And even at the peak of COVID, Sierra Leoneans are very pleased that government was able to do direct interventions to support their palliatives. We did direct cash transfers to the poorest of the poor. We did cash transfers to people living with disabilities during lockdowns. We paid salaries to hotel workers for 3 months. We made cash readily available to importers through the central bank to ensure that they did not run short of foreign currency. That's the reason why Sierra Leone never ran short of any of the essential commodities during COVID.
Now, in terms of President Maadabi,
we have progress. Again, when it comes to legal and legislative reforms.
Go ahead, Mr. Sware. Mr. Sware, can you hear me? All right, so there may be some connectivity issues. Of course, Mr. Sware is himself in Sierra Leone. Mr. Sware, if you can hear me, land on the point you were making.
Well, I simply wanted to say Sierra Leoneans had every reason to have overwhelmingly voted for the president on the first ballot. He has provided them human capital development agenda, which literally touched every nook and cranny of the country. Repeal criminal libel law, which was 55 years old, that strangled the journalism profession. Today they are unshackled. We have enacted the gender empowerment, and women journalists are quite happy, and they show their.
Right. We're having some connectivity challenges, Mr. Sware. I hope it gets better in the course of this conversation, else we may have to find other alternatives. But contemplating the situation in Sierra Leone, we know that Julius Maada Bio actually came through as a military leader. He's a former brigadier in the army, contested once in 2012, got about 37% of the vote and lost. And then in 2018, he came to power. Now, looking at the sub-region and all the elements we are seeing as far as the military is concerned, look at Guinea, which is a country bordering yours. Look at Mali. Even look at the Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, with their president going for a third unprecedented term. Looking at the climate in Sierra Leone, should Maada Bio, regardless of the gains you speak of, do you feel he should have gone into this election, put himself forward for re-election? Did you get the question, Mr. Sware?
It was a little. Some part of it was not quite clear.
Okay, so I'm merely saying that Mr. Sware, that the sub-region is in turmoil. You can look at Guinea, a country that shares a border with your country. You could look at Liberia and what it has escaped. You can look at the Ivory Coast with the president going for an unprecedented third term, tweaking the constitution. In terms of Sierra Leone and the pivotal role you play in the sub-region and the turmoil you are seeing now, because the APC's candidate, Mr. Kamara, is refusing to accept the results. What do you make of that situation?
I forgot your drift. Yeah? Let's go.
Mr. Sware, did you get my question? It appears the internet connectivity at your end is not the best. So in simple terms, I want to find out. I want to find out, Mr. Sware.
Okay, so
go ahead. All right, Mr. Sware, this is what we're going to do. Since the internet connectivity is not the best, it is halting the conversation. We'll rather reach you on phone. I suppose that will be better. We'll take it from there. We're going to take a short break. Just stay with us on the AM show. This is a crucial matter for West Africa. We'll be right back. Welcome back on the AM show. And to those of you who are watching us live, our sincere apologies. Technology, it has a mind of its own sometimes. But we've got Mohamed Rahman Sware, who is Minister for Information and Communication in Sierra Leone, on the phone now. This should be much better. Mr. Sware, welcome back to the conversation.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being back.
All right.
Loud and clear this time.
So the question I was posing earlier, the sub-region is in turmoil. Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso. You share borders with Guinea. And we look at all the happenings in there. Maada Bio is a former military ruler who has transitioned to become a democratic ruler. After his first term, regardless of the achievements you are touting, do you feel, in the interest of Sierra Leone, he should have gone forward to contest this time? And again, what are the problems that Mr. Kamara of the APC is highlighting in rejecting the June 24 electoral results?
Okay, so first off, it's not enough to indicate that he was a military general. Many of us here have called him a soldier democrat, and we attribute the subject to him as godfather of democracy in Serbia. In his brief stint as military head of state in 1996, he conducted elections, free, fair, and credible elections, and returned the country to democratic civilian rule after over 24 years of one-party dictatorship and a few years of military rule. So he's credited with having restored democracy to Sierra fast forward, we are very concerned about the reception of democracy in West Africa in the places you mentioned, but Sierra Leone has continued to consolidate our democracy, which is a good post-war elections were holding, and all of these elections have been conducted by Sierra Leone. President Leone has continued to be an inspiration to colleagues in the sub-region. When Mali had the crisis, when Guinea had the crisis, he's been playing a mediating role, commissioned by ECOWAS, because he has been through that, he's done that, and he's now a civilian leader. So he's quite a breath of fresh air, he's good, he's around here, and he's prepared well, really reformed, that will be the envy of other countries around here. Remember I mentioned many African leaders would love to preserve the death penalty in their books, to abolish that. Many have used the criminal libel law on the books over 55 years to strangle dissent, and all of those things, and this empowered women more than any other person. So yes, we are concerned. We believe the best thing to have happened to this country is President Leone running for the second term and winning re-election on the first ballot. Because this reform and this game need to be consolidated, and at the same time, we need to accelerate transformation.
Right.
So because of this reason, His Excellency, okay, yeah.
Go ahead, but I also want you to quickly address why Mr. Kamara is refusing to accept the electoral results of June the 24th.
Okay, so, we understand African losers, for the most part, will always rig up one form of excuse or the other. His Excellency and the Elections Commission announced the date for these elections over a year in advance in March last year. This was to be enough opportunity to all parties to prepare themselves and contest the election. The APC, which Dr. Kamara leads, was busy with internal bickerings, was busy, fighting amongst themselves. They did not organize themselves. They had huge logistical challenges. Whereas that was the case with them, His Excellency went to every nook and cranny, and this message was very clear. He ran on a solid track record, and his message for re-election resonated with all Sierra Leoneans across this country. That is why, if you look at the parliamentary and local council election results, his party literally won seats in every place except in one district where the former president is from and where he now resides. So this is an indication that this victory was on the basis of his track record. We had introduced equality education, we have several advantages for the twin shocks of COVID, and the Russia-Ukraine war continues to put the economy up and running. We have recruited a lot of teachers. We have brought more healthcare workers onto the payroll. We have, continued to create jobs. We have increased salaries, even in the midst of all of these challenges. And we have continued to maintain international trust and credibility. Sierra Leone is beginning to be the ideal investment destination. At the peak of COVID, we had a PPP arrangement which has given us a brand new airport which can conveniently compete with any other airport in the region, including Kokoka. So all of these things are happening, and a lot more is set to happen in the second term of excellence.
All right. Now, some quick thoughts. We know that the president belongs to the Christian minority, though powerful group. In fact, the Muslim population is about 3/4. His Gambian wife is Muslim, but he himself is Christian. I just had to paint that fundamental dynamic because looking at your voter population, in fact, we see that the Mr. Kamara, who is Muslim, is saying that the election was rigged by the SLPP, the Sierra Leone People's Party, in connivance with your electoral commission. How do you respond to that? Because this has gained quite a bit of currency, and they were even calling, just this past Saturday, the 1st, they were calling for another conduct of the election. How do you react to that?
Okay, so my response is very simple. The president is a devout Christian, like the Joseph challenger, Dr. Tamara Kamara. He has a devout Muslim wife who is a religion, just like me, my wife is not a Christian, I'm Muslim. So religion is not quite an issue, right? So fast forward to the issues. Dr. Julius Maada won these elections because of his track record and because of the promises his leadership holds in country. Whereas Dr. Kama and others, even before the election, were making very unrealistic demands. He wanted the whole electoral commission to resign 2-3 days to the election. He wanted them replaced by foreign expert election people to conduct, white people to conduct the election. Number 3, they literally made very outlandish demands. I mean, we are a 62-year-old country since independence. We have conducted elections for ourselves since 1996 when we returned to civilian rule. And these elections have been conducted by Sierra Leoneans like, in fact, an improvement on the previous elections. These ones, they are funded 95% by the government. So the international development partners always get in to support civil society and other rights groups to raise awareness and do vote rights. So this is not the kind of election you want to overboard. We think he was asking for something unconstitutional because our constitution is very clear. You have to be a Sierra Leonean, a registered voter to become a member of our electoral commission. So all of those requests were, out of work. Secondly, you had them talking about a rerun in their most recent press release. I mean, that is also unrealistic, right? The only person, the only institution that has the competence to ask for a rerun of an election after an official declaration of a presidential election outcome, the president has been sworn in. The only competent authority to do that is the Supreme Court. The election is so challenged in the Supreme Court. So the options are very clear for the opposition. Instead of riling up more problems, we encourage them to use the later institutional mechanism to secure it. I mean, in 2012, when we lost the election, we challenged it in the Supreme Court. When they had issues with the new electoral system, the proportional representation, we challenged it in the Supreme Court, and there was a ruling. We have moved on and lived happily ever after.
All right.
His Excellency, the elections are come and gone. They are now over. We want to now embark on the solid challenge of progressive and accelerated development. His Excellency has extended a hand of friendship and fellowship to all progressive party leaders, including the closest challenger, the party colleagues, the worship in the same congregation, in the same parish, and so has extended a hand to them to join me in the adult task of rebuilding this country and taking our country to the next higher level.
Okay.
The fulfillment of this vision of a united, progressive, peaceful Sierra Leone, where every Sierra Leonean.
Right, and that feeds that feeds into the president's tweet when he post the election, what he tweeted. But I want you to react to these. I have Mohammed Kanu. I don't know whether he's Sierra Leonean. Confirm for me, Mohammed, if you are. I see you on the live feed. You say this PAOPA regime. I don't know what PAOPA means. If it's derogatory, my apologies. This PAOPA regime has made our republic useless. They are definitely going to pay a huge price for the crimes against humanity in Sierra Leone. Now, that feeds into part of the rhetoric because we know that in protesting the outcome of this election, for example, the APC posted, what culminated in the rogue announcement of fraudulent election results on June 25 was not just the naked theft of the votes of the suffering masses who needed change. It represents the biggest threat to our democracy, unity, and survival as a nation. Now, you've been touting the record of Julius Maada Bio, but how do you react to the fact that nearly 60% of Sierra Leone's population of more than 7 million is facing poverty and stark youth unemployment, which is what people felt they were voting this administration out for? How do you react to those?
The reaction is very simple. We say we did not walk into poverty today. We have been poor for a long time, so including the 11 years of the previous administration in which Dr. Kamara was key. And interestingly enough, he had remained the best central figure in our financial management system. You know, we inherited an economy that had been declared in austerity under their watch, so they cannot be an alternative. Come to think about joblessness, we recognize that as a national security threat, right? That is why His Excellency, in his 5 big game changers for his re-election, has posted to create 5,000 new jobs for young people in the next 5 years. Already the signs are very clear and palpable. In the last week to election, he paid visits to 5 factories which are up and emerging. These factories will create jobs for young people, and we are also going very big on technical vocational education and training, because we missed out on a whole generation of young people during the war who do not have livelihood and sustainable livelihood skills. We want to target that generation of young people so that we can address the missing middle. So, I mean, that is work in progress. So the gentleman who knows pauper really means that is something that must happen. So we say pauper salon for better, right? Meaning, by all means, Sarah Leone must progress. And with the alliance, with the progressive alliance we enter with into Dr. Kanye Yonkela's party, we now say pauper salon for better. Yes. So we have to make progress once we put salon for. As long as we put Sarah Leone first, this country must progress by all means, another outcome. So we are on the trajectory. His Excellency is concerned about food security. All took over under their watch. The very people who are criticizing. This country was the 3rd hungriest nation in the world. We have been able to improve that rating to about the 9th hungriest. This is still no good. This is why His Excellency has said he is one of the number one on his 5 big game changers to feed salon. We want to be able to address the food security issue. Already we have secured a food compact from the African Development Bank to the tune of $50 million and a strong commitment from the president of the bank to accompany Sarah Leone in our food security journey. Again, in the previous part, His Excellency has chalked experts in Southeast Asian countries to support us, and we want to use technology, research, and science to grow enough food for ourselves and for business.
Right.
That's already on.
Interesting development there, but everything must be free and fair, kosher, as we put it, because of the turmoil in the West African sub-region. You are well aware of what has been happening. Mohamed Kano comes back to say, we are definitely not going to accept the presidential result announced by Mohamed Kane due to bribery and corrupt malpractices. Now, the reason I am reading this is because it feeds into the conversation, the rhetoric around your last election. So guess what? When the electoral results, when they were declared, the African Union and ECOWAS went ahead to say that everything had been free and fair. But there have been critical questions by the European Union, the UK, the US, and especially France in particular, in terms of how the Electoral Commission tabulates votes. In fact, they have called for a display of the results from each polling station. Why is the Electoral Commission in Sierra Leone not able to do that?
Well, so, Sierra Leone did not begin yesterday or on June 24th. This has been the most transparent elections ever seen. On Elections Day, to the credit of this government and to the Election Commission, everybody there were vehicular movements interrupted. Everybody went about their normal business. The elections went on peacefully, but for a few issues here and there. And nobody was denied the right to vote as long as they were refused by 5 o'clock. Right? So some people might argue in the few polling stations, polling started late, but they extended the time to ensure that any eligible voter who was in the queue had an opportunity to vote. So that was the result. There were issues here. The opposition, the things they did not do in their 10 or 11 years, they conducted 2 elections. The same way they used to tabulate the results were the same way this commission did it. They were now asking for projectors to show the results. they do double-blind entry. That is what election results in Ghana and other places. That is how it happened. This time they wanted the rule change in the middle of the day. So that is not what is in the book. But the opposition, everywhere will always cry once they lose an election. But the fact of the matter is the APC entered this election ill-prepared, a divided house, without a message. In fact, as a matter of fact, they had a surrogate seated in the Netherlands who preoccupied their party with profanity, bringing down decent men and women, abusing them with all kinds of profanity. So Sierra Leoneans, among other things, also voted for a decent society and against profanity. They voted for hope over fear. They voted for a clear agenda over obscure rhetoric. That is the point.
So just to cap off the conversation, with all of what is being said, the European Union, the UK, the US, France especially, with your relationship with these countries, they are saying there's a lot to say about the election not being credible. Is the possibility of a rerun realistic, a rerun of the election so that there is peace? And there have also been fears of people taking to the streets to protest. What is the situation on that, quickly, as we wrap the conversation?
Okay, so 2 things. Number one, there have been a flurry of congratulatory messages across this country from paramountries, from tribal leaders, from religious communities, to congratulate His Excellency and to assure him all is well in their community. That's number one. Number two, the call for a rerun, no political party is competent enough to call for a rerun. That's way above their pay grade. They should not arrogate themselves that right. The uncompetent authority to so do apply a petition at the Supreme Court is the Supreme Court of Sierra Leone. And as to the best of my knowledge, this election has not been challenged in the Supreme Court. You know, once it does, we watch the drama unfold. But that's a very unrealistic demand coming from the political party. That's unconvincing. That's unreasonable, right? So we are firmly fixed on the huge challenge of reconciling this country, of blurring the lines, and of bringing every Sierra Leonean, progressive Sierra Leonean, who has something to offer to this country, to work for the benefit of our country, so that we can achieve a united, peaceful, and progressive Sierra Leone, where everybody, including my brother Mohamed Kanu, can have an opportunity to realize their fullest potential. This is the only country we have. We will encourage them to exercise violence and to use dual constitutional processes and procedures, to express their dissent.
You're calling on the people not to use violence, but like Mohamed Kanu says again, the meaning of paupa means by force, whether you like it or not. That is how some Sierra Leoneans feel. So finally, I don't know about a spilling over onto the streets, but are you saying that this government under Maada Bio can maintain peace in Sierra Leone so that the country does not degenerate into chaos? Just some 30 seconds on that.
No, so we have all with the mantra, the subrequest, they call us Paupa Salon for better. So that means Sierra Leone must progress by all means, not that self-serving interpretation of Mohamed Kanu, right? That is what it means. Sierra Leone must progress by all means. So, we have continued to appeal. The elections are done. Nobody was deprived or exercising their franchise. We have to accept the outcome by the duly announced by the duly constituted body mandated to announce election results. If anybody has issues with the outcome, they know where to go to the court, which are constituted to dispense justice to all manner of persons who want to appear before them. So that's what we encourage the leadership to do. We encourage them to de-escalate the rhetoric. We encourage them to discourage their subjugates seated abroad, threatening Sierra Leone, inciting violence, and calling for war. This country has been to hell and back for 11 years. We can't afford a relapse.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Suare, for doing us the honors and engaging us this morning all the way from Sierra Leone. I forgot to ask whether he was actually speaking from Freetown, the capital there. But it's on the back of latest happenings in Sierra Leone, crucial for us as a sub-region. We've seen how Burkina Faso has gone, how Mali has gone, how Guinea has gone, how Guinea-Bissau at a point nearly went. And we were just looking at what the dynamics would be. That election there has been heavily contested. The ruling SLPP, the Sierra Leone People's Party, garnered some 56+% of the votes. But Dr. Kamara, who came in second, disputed the votes. It's also been disputed by the European Commission, or the EU, I should put it that way, the UK, the US, and France. We wish our brothers and sisters in Sierra Leone the very best on that. But up next on the AM show, we'll be talking about the closed fishing season. We know that the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Mavis Hawakumsin, recently turned the key to lock the season one more time to, shore up our fish stock and all of that. We'll bring you more on that conversation after the break. But I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing when I take the break. I'm going to be sipping on Awake purified drinking water. And here's why. It is premium purified water treated through a strict purification process to ensure that every bottle on the market refreshes you better. And they have the perfect sizes for all occasions as well. Whether you're thinking of the kids, 330, 500 ml, sort them out, put it in their backpack, they take it to school, or you're a heavy drinker, you want 750 milliliters, or maybe you want even more, 1.5 liters, you are covered. All of those provided by Awake Purified Drinking Water. And then again, if you are big on the office, the home, you want even more, they have 19-liter jar bottles adequate for such situations. So all you must do now is drink Awake Purified Drinking Water. And remember, it doesn't just give you quality hydration, it is one for life. For every bottle you purchase, an amount, a token, is donated to the National Cardiothoracic Center. That is indeed heartwarming, considering how high the cost of such treatment is. It's another quality product by Casapreco Company Limited. If you'd like to purchase in bulk, this is the number to call, 0262 351 251. Remember, this advert is FDA approved. When we return on the AM show, it's all about the closed fishing season. Do stay.